How many times have you been in a store and watched someone at the counter buy something, and the person behind the counter, you can tell, is just shaking their head? Like, I know you think this is what you need, and I would almost bet that you're going to be back here in about 2 hours because you're going to need something else. And yet you won't ask anybody before you buy. We're going to talk about receiving a yes, and then when they need more than they bought. All that and more on episode 828 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Do you ever have days, Tom, where you're just like really tired of hearing that introduction? Because today's one of them.
Really? No, I kind of like the introduction. Oh, the introduction.
I like it generally. Maybe it's because we're recording this in the afternoon, so everything's out of whack.
So you're tired of hearing me do the introduction? Is that what you're saying?
No, not you. No, this is Tom and Bob, and since
you're tired of hearing my wife.
No, never tired of hearing your wife. Just tired of hearing the words presented in that form each morning.
Oh, I guess I kind of zone out because I don't have to be prepared to do some little whatever you call it thing you do.
Well, that's probably the difference, because normally I'm doing technology stuff at this time, but because we're recording it, I just have to stand here.
You might want to give that disclaimer because I know.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, folks, we are recording today's episode because we had a conflict, me being the conflict. And so that means that you can comment. Please feel free to comment, but we will not respond to your comments in real time, probably. However, if you would like to have us respond, what? You give me a weird look.
You use but and however in a sense. I was trying to be like, okay, well, he said this and then he said but. And then
I was with someone yesterday who said to me, you said something and then I said but. And it's like, oh, so you're discounting everything you said before but.
And then you said however. So are you then discounting the thing in the middle as well? Or are we back to the thing at the beginning? I got confused. Sorry.
Yet I'm trying to get through this. See, I just use yet.
I know.
For it's driving me crazy. I think I use them all now. And but yet for. Yeah, I think they're the
and butter or. That used to be a very conjunction junction, right?
Yep.
That was a Schoolhouse Rock, one of my favorites.
Oh,
Train
yeah.
Tracks and but and or and how they pull things together. And
oh, yeah. That how a bill becomes a law was one of them. Remember that one?
Yeah, but that we're just focusing on the one episode. Conjunctions.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we had rules.
We have rules. And I would go and kick out but and be like, yeah, but just confuses things. Let's get rid of that. And is okay, or is okay, but is confusing.
We have so gone afield. I don't even know where to collect it from here.
I think you got to go back and remind people that we are that this is a recording.
If you comment, we would love for you to comment. We will get back to you, but will not be on the program immediately. But I promise Tom and I read every single comment.
Yes, we do.
We do. And I fixate on many of them.
Yes, you do. All right, why don't we move forward before you? I think
that's a lovely idea.
You go off the rail, and then I don't know what'll happen to the show. So good morning. It is morning, not now. When you're watching this, might be morning, or you're watching the recording. Either way, thanks for being with us, and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast, where each week we have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic is receiving a yes. Last week we talked about dealing with a no. And so as we go through that conversation today, we're going to focus on what happens when they need more than they bought. And you know it. And even if you try to tell them, they don't think they do. And you know what's coming next. So if you have thoughts or ideas around this conversation, please feel free to share them because we know that it will add value to the show. And at the conclusion of that conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you figure out what to do maybe when you're stuck or when this happens to you and you weren't expecting it because you thought they had what they thought they needed, thought you had given them what they thought they had needed. And they come back to you and be like, yeah, that didn't work. What do I do now? So hopefully that'll help you move forward. And of course, if you have a one thing you would like to share, please do. Because when you share it the way you do, someone who maybe have been told that before and hadn't really heard it might hear it that time and help them figure out how to get unstuck, be a little more confident, and figure out how to take their next step. Before we dive into that conversation, though, each morning, Bob and I share our celebrations. So, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I am going to celebrate the fact that, I can't find, we had one of our listeners said to us in the text, keep up the great talks. They're very enlightening. I like that. So I'm going to celebrate the fact that one of our listeners really gets value and finds us enlightening. That's a word that isn't often associated with me. I don't think anyone's ever called me enlightened in any way.
Well, you were dressed as what you thought was a preppy the other day. Aren't they enlightened? Doesn't that just go hand in hand?
They're just preppy.
Oh, all right. I thought they were enlightened as well. I don't know.
So.
Okay. I know how you are with words of affirmation.
It's my fave.
Yes, it is.
What are you celebrating?
So I am celebrating that, and maybe I celebrated this the other day, and I'm not sure.
Oh, repeat? Really?
Well, it's kind of a replay and kind of not. So I last night did a presentation around how to be an effective board member, or how to be maybe a more effective board member, or impactful board member. I like impactful. And I get to
Slides are getting changed, aren't they?
Maybe. And on tomorrow, I get to give another one. This is a presentation that I've done a number of times, but it's going to be at a mini conference in your neck of the woods, out in Harford County.
Hey.
There's.
Does that mean you're coming by to see my place?
Maybe. Although, I don't know. My time is tight. I've got to get from that, do my presentation, get to a lacrosse game. I'm close to declining my lacrosse game, although that will put me in poor graces with an organization. Maybe it's worth doing it. I don't know. We'll see. And
Penthouse is waiting.
Did you say the penthouse or penthouse is waiting?
The penthouse. Wow.
Why is penthouse waiting? I didn't get that. Anyhow.
No, where I live, the penthouse is waiting for you to come visit tomorrow if you cancel your game.
I didn't hear the. All I heard was penthouse is waiting. Okay. It's like,
see the problem.
I'm not sure I understand this. Anyhow, so I'm excited to give it. There's going to be about 130 people.
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking forward to that opportunity to share some value with all of them. That's
you get nervous when you have big crowds that you present in front of?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, a little bit, probably. And I think I've given this presentation a few times. So I feel like I have a good grasp on the content. And I think that always helps. You know, it's different because a lot of times I've done it smaller. So it's easier to have interaction with a smaller group. And, so I'll have to account for that. And I'm sure I'll be a little nervous when I get started. And then once I get going, I'll be fine. I'll get going.
That's how it is for me. Once I walk out there, it's all good. But the 5 minutes beforehand, a little dicey. And the 5 minutes before we do the program every day, it's a little dicey. Oh, I'm so nervous? Not.
Really?
No, not at all.
I was going to say. Wow.
Actually, I take that back. I was nervous on Monday.
Because we're going to talk about receiving a yes?
No, because
you got some feedback?
I got some feedback, yes. That's a good way to put it.
Okay. It's just feedback. Remember that.
Just feedback, yes.
Feedback. So. All All right. Shall we dive into our conversation?
Let's dive in.
Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
I'm going to go first, I think, because I like to go first. And it makes it harder for you because I cover everything. Then you have to make up something. So this is an interesting situation. And I don't know how often it happens in a brick and mortar store. You know, you're set up in the beginning. Well, I guess it could. You know, it's a distance between what we as the seller know the person needs and what the person thinks they need.
Have you ever heard of do it yourself?
Of what?
Do it yourself?
Yeah, and
you don't think that there, how many times have you gone back to Lowe's, Home Depot?
Well, that's where my rules of force come. Every home project I do requires 4 times as long as I allocate. So if I say it's 2 hours, it's going to be 8, and it requires 4 trips to a hardware store. Every time. My rule of force. It is perfect. It is literally straight on the money within an hour.
So it's not exactly perfect. It's close to perfect. Within an hour is
closer than 2 hours, and it doesn't even get started in 2 hours. Usually 2 hours is, I'm not even back from the hardware store the first time in 2 hours.
All right.
Gotten the coffee, the donuts, you know, the obligatory things for Saturday work. But I think the interesting thing is the DIY part of it. We're in a world where there's a lot of DIY opportunities. You know, you can go online and pretty much find just about anything in a tutorial, either free or $37 or $99, but the full program's $1,000. We just live in that space where there's so much access to it. And I think we've kind of gotten to this belief that we can do it ourselves. You know, we're doing some marketing, and we bought a book for what, $37 or something, and thought we could do it ourselves.
$4.95.
$4.95, right? Not 400. Yeah. Okay. So we bought the book. We thought we could do it ourselves, and we've since gotten involved with that organization much more, and paid them a significantly more money than that $4.99. But I think we went into that believing we could do it for $4.99. And I think it's also, we as the seller understand the situation of the buyer often more than the buyer, because it's the first time the buyer's been in this situation. But a lot of my clients, this might be the 10th, 12th time I've been in that situation. So I know exactly the process in most cases. They haven't gotten there yet. And I think recognizing that, and just like when I taught college, there were times where you just had to let people mess it up. You couldn't save them from themselves, because the lesson came when they realized, oh, I can't write a 20-page paper the night before it's due. That's not going to work real well. Yes, you can write it, but if you're expecting to get an A, odds aren't real good on that. And you have to let them do it, even though it's like, hey, paper's due in a week. Everyone got the rough draft done? Oh, no, I really have to get drunk the night before and then I write it because I need the pressure. Okay, good luck with that. And then they do it, and then they get a low grade, and you have the meeting with them and go, hey, did you really put your effort in? Oh, yeah, the night before class, I worked really hard on it. Okay, well, you know, it was assigned 3 months ago for a reason. Yeah, I really need to spend more time on it. I don't think I said it in the classroom over and over. Hey, this is a big project. 20 pages, a lot of words, a lot of thought has to go into it. Hard to do it in a week, hard to do it in a month. The reason I gave you 3 months to do this is because I want you to think about it. Play with it. You can say that 1,000 times in the classroom. You're going to have probably a third of the class that just doesn't hear it until they go through it. And then they start to realize. And I think that's the thing, as the seller, you have to let people feel some of that pain, because sometimes I think they come back as better customers after they realize they can't do it themselves. Because one is, oh, I think I can build that cabinet. Second is, oh, I bought all the stuff and I watched a YouTube video and I'm going to build the cabinet. The opportunity to sell to them is when they've bought the stuff, messed up the wall, it looks horrible, and the cabinet's not built yet, and they've got company coming next week. Now the carpenter can come in and build the cabinet because the person knows exactly what it takes, and they also know they can't do it. We DIY it, we do it ourselves because we think we can do anything. How hard can it be, Tom? I mean, geez, it's Facebook ads. I think anyone can do Facebook ads.
I think some people think that way. Not
anyone can do Google ads. Anyone can write a press release. Anyone. Oh, you know what? I can build a website over the weekend. It's so easy now. I can build the website. Okay. I've done all those things. Hasn't worked out real well in any of those cases.
Well, I think that there's a group of people who that's the way they operate. Mm-hmm. There's another group of people who don't, who are like, yeah, I know I'm not going to be able to figure this out. I'm going to have someone come and do it. That's the other option. Or I'm going to go to the store and be like, okay, explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old. I need to replace my toilet. What do I need to do? How do I need to do it? And can I do it myself? And they might be told, you probably ought to get somebody to come and do that. That may be a little bit much. To replace the plunger.
That's easy. I've even done it, and I can't do anything.
Well, it's easy for you. Might not be easy for the next person.
Who
doesn't even know where they turn off their water. That's a challenge.
But you have to turn off your water? I'm kidding.
Well, unless you want a hot tub in your bathroom that is your bathroom.
Not good in the penthouse.
Yeah, probably not going to make the people underneath you very happy. That's for sure.
Because they're going to get a hot tub even more.
Correct. Yeah, so I think
cold by then.
I think that there's a, it's funny. Probably the people who save their paper till the end are the same people who think they can do it themselves later in life.
Right. I think interesting. That's an interesting perspective.
Well, I think it's a common theme, right? Is that you feel like you've got it under control. You feel like everything's going to be fine. You feel like, oh yeah, this will be easy. And because I've done it before, maybe, like sometime they did a paper the night before, they went and got drunk and then they wrote it and they got an A. Might not have been a 20-page paper. They thought, oh, well, if I can do a 3-page paper, what's 17 more pages? So I think there's this perception that, okay, I can do this. And so I don't need someone else's help. And I think that's I think some of the things that happen, whether you're a leader or you decide to open up your own business, right? Well, I've sold widgets before. I can lead people to sell widgets. That shouldn't be that hard. Or I'm really good at plumbing. I'm going to open my own plumbing business. And I should be able to do that because I was a plumber. I know how to do. That's the most important thing, is that you know how to do the work. Until you get there and you figure out that, like, yeah, that's not necessarily the case. It's like, it's part of it. And it might be a bigger part of it at the beginning. And before you know it, likely it's going to be a smaller and smaller part of it as you continue to grow. And so I think that there's this common feeling that, well, if I've done this, I can do that. And it's sort of an apple and oranges usually comparison that usually we then end up finding out like, I wonder why I do now have a floor full of water when I was trying to replace my toilet, and maybe I should have done things differently.
Right. Well, I'm the best plumber and I don't seem to make very much money because I don't know how to price it, or I don't know how to get the scheduling to work out so that when I tell someone between noon and 2 o'clock on Tuesday, I'm actually there because they've scheduled their life around that. There's a lot of nuances to all these things. And so much of it we don't really learn, right? I mean, that's one of the things I've come to realize, that I wasn't taught very much about business in school, in college, in high school. And I was in a family environment where that wasn't taught either, because my parents were teachers and worked for the government. So that you had some entrepreneurial aspects in your life. Your parents did entrepreneurial things. So you had some of that. The discussion around the dinner table, probably once or twice a month, if not more, involved that, and you understood what it took. And I think you don't know until you realize what you don't know, right? I mean,
Sure.
I started my business in 2010. I thought it was going to be easy. It's like, I've worked at businesses. I've seen what they do. They make a lot of money. How hard can it be? And it was never my ability to do the work that's been the problem. It's always been other stuff, pricing, social media, sometimes the marketing, sometimes customer relations, dealing with other vendors. Oh, contracts. That can be, I can remember I had a friend who was in business, and he's like, I don't deal with contracts. I don't want to deal with a lawyer. That's going to cost a lot of money. I'm just not going to have contracts. I'm just going to say to people, when they write the check, just write on it that you agree to have this work done. Okay.
Surprised that
Your Honor, I'd like to provide the contract.
Yes.
I'm sorry. So that looks like a canceled check. Yeah. Yes, it does.
Wonder why. Yeah, I think it's one of those.
We learn as we go, right? I mean, I think that's one of the pieces of wisdom that you come to at varying levels, and it's not really someone's fault. I mean, one of the things I've heard people say, like, I should have learned this stuff, but I don't know when I could have done it, because I probably wouldn't have ever. I wish I'd done an MBA program. I wish I'd taken more business courses in college, but that's an older person looking back and not realizing when I was in college, I never expected to own a business. There was no thought of that.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing, is that, again, and it depends on where, if you've had success doing other things in the past, I think you have a feeling that, well, if I could do those, I could do this. And so you don't feel like there is the need to go ask when you run into something that you might be struggling with. I think I was more of I would rather ask up front. Not always. I mean, there were times I tried to do it myself. That was challenging. Rather than the simple thing is, let me go find somebody who knows how to do this or has done this and get them to help me, rather than continue to struggle all along with, making 4 trips to the hardware store because I thought I could figure it out. And I looked at this YouTube and they said, all you need is this, this, and this. Oh yeah, they forgot to mention that, yeah, you also they're making assumptions that you already have.
Yeah, that you have the Sawzall and the this and then that. Yeah, because everyone has a Sawzall.
And of course, it would make sense. Like, why would you be doing something if you didn't have that?
Right.
Yeah. I guess I didn't think about that. So I think that's part of the challenge, and is that they just don't know. And I think as much as you try to say that to people, and again, whether it's like, and I'm sure the people who we bought the book from would be like, you can buy the book, you might be able to figure it out, you might have success. They also probably know they're either going to give up completely or they're coming back, because they saw that they were close, and yet still couldn't figure out, like, what's the missing element there. And I think that's part of our challenge anytime as the seller, is we try to provide that insight. And for some people, they're like, oh my God, yeah, that would make it way easier. I'll do that, and I'm willing to pay for it. Others be like, nah, I don't really want to pay for that. And so let me take this other version and think they're going to have the exact same success. Let me get the blender that's only got a 1 horsepower motor in it, and I'm trying to chop up frozen strawberries and blueberries.
Ooh, making a smoothie, are we?
Maybe making a smoothie.
Ooh,
and I think that's good. The piece that we don't, we think we have what we need and don't listen to others. Usually it's for things around price or time or, value. Is like, oh, okay, well, this is the same. I wonder why one is One blender is $350 and the other one is $19.99. I bet they can do the same things though. I mean, I think that's the way our minds work sometimes. It's a blender.
Well,
Why
and
would I
things
need
look
one?
easy.
Sure.
What we don't see is the amount of effort that goes into doing something easily. Like, I'm blessed with the ability to write. And there are times when I write something and it takes me a half hour. And the person's like, whoa, that was really fast. I could do that too. I'm like, uh-huh. Yes. And
Good.
yet I wrote this for you. Huh.
Sure.
And they go, no, it's not that hard. And well, next time do it yourself. And then they try it and they're like, oh, how's it going? Well, it's been 4 days. Spent a lot of time on it. And they're like, but you're charging so much money for it. And it's just like, because all the work that gets into doing something very easily.
Yeah.
And we tend to forget that. And I think TV makes that, and YouTube makes that really difficult to recognize, because the TV shows where they do the DIY projects on home and garden TV, they've got 80,000 people working on that in 1 week, 24 hours a day. And in the world I live in, most contractors don't work 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and they have all the tools they need. You look at the
And
cooking
they
shows,
have everything that they need. All the supplies are already there. You're not waiting for Home Depot to actually have the cabinet that the wood that you need to do the special thing.
right?
And by the
So,
way,
Bob,
Home
you have
Depot,
your-
Lowe's, please feel free to sponsor us. We'd love to. We'll mention you every day. We can work you in.
Might be able to do that. There's no doubt.
We could.
All right, Bob. So what's your one thing?
I think my one thing is that we tend to, when we're the seller thinking about someone needing more than they bought, I think we have to recognize that it's not intentional always. It's just the person doesn't realize what it takes. They think that they have all the tools, but they might not have the tools. Or they think that I fixed the electrical problem in 20 minutes because I've done it 4 billion times. But when you go to check it, you're not going to have the tools. You're not going to have the expertise to be able to say, oh, if this didn't work, then it's got to be here. And we all have those gifts.
Sure.
And I think we also forget them as the seller. We forget the amount of things that we can do really well. And we expect that we can do all the things that we need to do really well. I mean, I own a business. I should be able to do everything. I should be able to do all the tax stuff. I should be able to write a contract. I'm a writer. I should be able to write a contract that's legally binding. Hey, I should be able to do customer service. I should be able to hire employees. I should be able to deal with annual reviews, all those things, because I own a business, Tom. And if I don't know how to do all those things, how could I possibly own a business?
Well, you filed with your state government and came up with a name and have a service that you provide. I guess that's a business.
Yeah.
What does it cost you? $125 to do that or something to get
300, I think.
Oh, 300. Oh, wow, it's gone up.
Yeah.
Fair enough. When I think about it, I think that it is about the willingness to listen to those who you have gone to. Like, there's a reason that you've gone to wherever you've gone to find the solution for what it is. Why do you go to Home Depot? Well, because they sell the stuff that I need. Oh, yeah, and they also have people.
I go there because they're going to sponsor us.
Oh, okay. Let me know when that
Putting
comes
it out into the universe.
Let me know when that comes true, and then I'll stop going to
the other place. Don't say it.
The other place or the small little
other places.
Yes. Because we go there because they have the knowledge and experience perspective around it. And yet, rather than taking advantage of it and leveraging that, we choose to think that we have what's going on, and we end up doing more talking than we do listening or asking questions. And I think that so often why we don't get what we really need is because we've stopped asking questions and think we have all the answers. And I think that's just a part of being open to, like, I don't have all the answers. And maybe this person in front of me, even though I might only consider them as a coach or they're a writing instructor or a college professor or the checkout person at Home Depot. It was Home Depot you were trying to get right, not the other place.
I don't care.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was saying the same one.
Ace, True Value, Valvoline.
So anyhow, we may assume, like, how much can they know? They're just a cashier at the store. Right. Well, there's a pretty good chance they know more than you do. Not always. And there are times when there are people who have the skill set, likely because they've done it before, or they have other skills surrounding it that allow them to, and they have all the tools and some other experience that allows them to truly be able to do it themselves. And I think even sometimes those people find themselves stuck and uncertain what to do next and looking for who can provide whatever it is that they're missing to be able to do it. So I think it's about being willing to ask questions and trusting that others have value that they can share.
And I like the asking questions because it really is both ways, right?
Sure.
You know, the seller could be asking, do you have this tool?
Correct.
No. Well, the tool's going to cost you $400. Probably be cheaper to just send my person out there to do that for $250, because now you're going to have a $400 tool that you're never going to use again, because how many times does this come up?
Correct. Or you might want to go borrow one from somebody.
Find or your rent best one friend from Home Depot.
It's always good to be friends with people who like their home improvement toys.
And someone who has a pickup truck.
Well, that is also the case. Yes, I would agree with
that. Life lessons from Tom and Bob.
There you go. There's your real antidote.
I was going to say, those are golden antidotes.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us. If you have an antidote you'd like to share, please feel free to put it in the comments. As Bob said, we are recording this, and so we won't be able to share your thoughts on the show yet. We will go back and respond to them, and others who come to listen to the show or watch the show later will be able to see them as well. So please feel free to share your value. Maybe somebody will come and ask questions that will allow you, that they'll be like, I was thinking of that, and this person shared that answer. Isn't that thoughtful of them to share their value? So if you happen to be listening to the podcast, we know there's no place to do that. So join us inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where you can share your thoughts and ideas there around the conversations that are happening and gain from the value of others sharing it. So we look forward to seeing you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If not, we will see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.-ish Eastern time, for our next episode of Today's Antidote.
Hey, folks, go out and embrace the renegading you. It's so worth it on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday.
Double beautiful?
Yep. It's a really pretty day.
I
can't even see it right now, and I know it's beautiful.
Can you see the future?
I can. It's going to be beautiful.
You never shared that before. Isn't that a judgment? Beautiful.
Yes.
Just asking. All right, everyone.
Friend, right?
Yep. Go out and enjoy the day. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.